Gwyneth Paltrow, rectal ozone therapy. I'm willing to bet a large sum of money that when you woke up today, that you didn't realise that you'd be watching a video that makes reference to rectal ozone therapy. But as you might have come to expect, within the world of the ultra, nothing is off limits with regards to the pursuit of the education about narcissism. Gwyneth Paltrow is a narcissist. I've established that elsewhere, and if you have not enjoyed my delicious roasting of her, then you might wish to pause this video and go to the search facility on my channel and type in HG Roasts Gwyneth Paltrow, and there you will find numerous episodes dedicated to a satisfying, exhilarating, and thoroughly deserved roast of this particular type of narcissist. It's also helpful, of course, as a consequence of news articles, the veracity of which I always leave for you to make a determination about, to look at further behaviours of certain narcissists to then explore those behaviours seen through the prism of the narcissism to enable you to understand what it is that this person is and why are they behaving in the manner that they are. You see, for instance, if you'd happen to come across an article telling you Gwyneth Paltrow says rectal ozone therapy has been very helpful, you may think, maybe I should try some rectal ozone therapy. I would say it'd only be a small percentage that might go in that direction. More of you will be thinking, fuck me, what's that crazy cow up to now? She's absolutely bastard mental. Rectal ozone therapy? Hey up, what's that when that's at home? You wonder. Well, let's find out a little about what this is, and also people's reactions to it, and what it tells us about Gwyneth Paltrow and her narcissism. The article comes from the Daily Mail, and Cassie Carpenter writes it. Goop founder Gwyneth Paltrow revealed that the weirdest wellness thing she's ever done is rectal ozone therapy, a procedure where the powerful gas is delivered via catheter into the colon. Basically, she had some gas fired up her arse, which makes a change because normally hot gas is expelled from her mouth, and I should imagine even someone like Gwyneth Paltrow farts from time to time. But the point is that she feels it's necessary to reveal this information to the world. Some of you might have had some colonic irrigation. Some of you might have had to undergo some surgical procedure in relation to your bowel, your bottom, your nether regions. And you might have told your partner, a family member about it, but undoubtedly you would not have gone on social media or to the mainstream media to tell everybody, "Hi, I've just had some hot gas fired up my arse." Why? Because you don't deem that it's appropriate. You deem that this is personal, private to you. You're probably rather embarrassed to go around announcing this, both in terms of, one, that you've considered and undertaken this rather bizarre-sounding treatment, and secondly, the fact that it involves parts of the bodies that you don't really want to talk about. You have a sense of discretion. Gwyneth Paltrow doesn't. That's why we're treated to pictures of her bouncing around when she hits her 50th birthday, spray-painted gold, because everybody must see how deliciously gorgeous she has maintained herself. She is not satisfied with just a small number of people saying, "Wow, Gwynny, you're looking really well for 50. What do you put that down to?" "Oh, quite clearly as a consequence of having a powerful gas shoved up my arse," would be her response. But no, she needs to show the world that she's a picture of health and beauty, because that, of course, is driven by her narcissism, in terms of lack of boundary recognition, a sense of entitlement to tell the world all of this, a lack of accountability for her behaviour, an absence of emotional empathy, because she doesn't consider, do people want to actually see me flouncing around in the nud spray-painted? Is it the case that people want to hear about me having a gas fired at my yitter? It doesn't cross her mind, because in her world, you need to know all of these things because she's Gwyneth Paltrow, and she is the Queen of Wellness. The article explains, I have used ozone therapy, rectally. Can I say that? The 50-year-old Oscar winner said on Monday's episode of Dear Media podcast, The Art of Being Well. It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird, yeah, but it's been very helpful. She doesn't really think that it's pretty weird because if she did, she'd keep it to herself. What she recognises, of course, is that other people may seem it as weird, and therefore her narcissism knows enough in order to fit in to suggest, yes, it's a bit weird, isn't it? But I'll tell you about it anyway. The inherent contradiction that is so familiar with the narcissist. Gwyneth's wellness journey also has her consuming ketone drinks, which the Art of Being Well host said tasted like cherry gasoline. It helps with cognition and brain fog and energy. I have it with green tea in the afternoon. It tastes pretty bad. Paltrow agreed. Not quite sure that brain fog is a diagnosed condition, but once again, the Queen of Wellness needs to tell us all of these things. I believe that they are coming out with an improved flavour or an improved version, which is very exciting. The Los Angeles native detailed her entire daily wellness routine, involving transcendental meditation, Pilates, Tracy Anderson workout, and the infrared sauna sessions, oversharing of information, lack of boundary recognition. The only time the Shark Tank guest shark didn't follow her strict paleo diet was when she was pregnant with her first child in 2003. All I wanted was grilled cheese sandwiches and yogurt. Both of Gwyneth's children, daughter Apple 18 and son Moses 16, remind her of her late father, Bruce Paltrow, who was, like my sun and moon, idealization, flattery. My daughter has his sense of humour and his sort of chutzpah, Paltrow gushed of the Emmy-nominated producer who died from oral cancer in 2002. Daughter as extension of self, father as extension of self. And then my father also had this very sensitive, artistic, gentle side, and I see that in my son so much. Triangulation. Turns out that the Sex, Loop and Goop producer consciously uncoupled Pretension, Utter Bollocks from Coldplay frontman Chris Martin a full year before they publicly announced the end of their decade-long marriage in 2014. We had told the kids, and during that year, and some of our close friends knew what was happening, Gwyneth explained. Paltrow originally met her second husband, Brad Falchuk, in 2010, when she did a 5-episode gig on Fox's Glee, but they didn't date until 2014 before tying the knot 4 years later. Ensnarement of intimate partner primary source. I had to do a lot of work on myself. This, of course, is often the cry of the mid-range narcissist. I had to do a lot of work on myself. It's just actually indicative of their self-absorption. In order to be ready for my marriage with Brad, because I still, up until that point, I was really stuck in childhood patterns of attachment and things that weren't healthy, the Emmy winner noted. I had to step up and realise, gosh, I really want to be with someone who is calming to my nervous system and who brings out the best in me. And I really thought about what those things were. I didn't want to feel nervous around my partner. I wanted to feel calm. I wanted to feel uplifted. The suggestion, therefore, is that she felt nervous around Chris Martin. How anybody could feel nervous around that beta individual remains to be seen. But, of course, this in effect is an indirect smearing. I wanted to feel like I was always learning or in an environment where I was allowed to learn. Again, the suggestion is that she has somehow been prevented from doing things, which of course is laughable, because we know that she's always done what she wants to do, and therefore this is a revision of history. I wanted to feel like I was always learning, or in an environment where I was allowed to learn, and he provided those things. Character trait acquisition. But I had to really rewire a certain, broken part of me. If I'm honest, that was so scary. Gwyneth, whose last acting gig was Netflix series The Politician in 2020, admitted her job at Goop makes an acting career impossible in the future, but she also said never say never. I also recognise that I'm an artist. And I think entrepreneurs are artists as well, Paltrow explained. Grandiosity. It's a very similar spirit, and I feel that need to create, and that expressiveness will probably always need to come through me. And if there's a day that my day job at Goop is less intensive, and it wouldn't surprise me if after having kind of having some downtime, if I felt like, I'd love to go and do a play or something like that. So I'm open. It's not something I pursue right now. Somewhat garbled word salad from her there. And while the goddaughter of Steven Spielberg admitted there's a couple of films she's done that make her kind of cringe a bit, her favourites include John Madden's 1998 romance Shakespeare in Love and Wes Anderson's 2001 dramedy The Royal Tenenbaums. The talented Mr. Ripley seems to be a fan favourite, Gwyneth said of the 1999 psychological thriller. People still talk to me about that movie all the time. It's interesting. It's had a long life after. It didn't do particularly well when it came out, but it's become kind of a classic. I can't even remember the rest of them. Yeah, like I always forget what else I've been in. False humility. Paltrow will next face off against retired optometrist Terry Sanderson over their 2016 collision on the Deer Valley slopes in Utah, which led to dueling $300,000 lawsuits, and the trial starts March 21st. Threat to control through lawsuit, nullification of threat to control by counter-lawsuit. Various examples of Gwyneth Paltrow's narcissism, and of course, writ large with her rather deluded grandiosity, as being queen of wellness and having gas fired up her bottom. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.